So in Ayurveda, there are four components that we need to attend to as part of human life, and they are the body, the senses, the mind, and the soul. So today, I'm just a teeny little bit talking about the senses. And our senses are organs of perception and they're organs of action. Our skin for touch, our ears for sound, our nose for scent, our tongue for taste, our eyes for sight. We relate to the world through our senses. What we perceive can determine what we think, how we emote, how we connect and disconnect. Our senses are the interface between us as an individual and the surrounding world. And we need to take good care of our senses to nourish them. We are a very outward focused and action oriented culture, but to determine right action, we need clear senses for good perception. In Ayurveda, each sense organ has a specific self care therapy and practices and an element that it is governed by. And I want to note too, this is not about perfection. In Ayurveda, there are extended teachings and a realization that not all of us have senses that function in the same way. And if you have a sense that is not as strong or you deal with some sort of illness around it, there's things that we come into this world with that are out of our control that are different than misusing or underusing our senses, but we focus then on the senses that function for us. And often, for many people, those other senses begin to function better. And in Ayurveda, there is a whole discussion on how someone with a particular limited sense still has an ability to focus in that way inwardly and to receive many of the benefits. So in um, and that doesn't have to do with, with aging or either. So I just am going to go through some of the senses and a little bit of some of the practices for them. So if you would sit comfortably and turn your focus inward, if it helps, close your eyes or just gaze softly and start with an awareness of your ears. So, our ears and hearing are governed by the element of space or ether. Sound travels through space. Notice sounds close in. Maybe you notice the sound of your breath. Notice sounds a little bit further out now. And so, for care of ears, you consider the sounds that bring you a sense of joy or pleasure. You listen to voices that attract you. Which sounds align with who you want to become? Can spend time in nature. And when you listen, listen deeply. And when you have had your fill, you spend time in silence too. Silence is a self care practice for our ears. And now become aware of your skin. So in Ayurveda, our skin or our sense of touch is governed by the element wind or air. So just notice as you're there, how does the air feel on your skin right now? Does it feel warm? Does it feel cool? Notice your clothes on your skin. How do they feel? And then, if you will, have your palms open and have place your open palms down on your thighs. And so you're going to notice the touch, the sensation, maybe a sense of warmth as your palms are on your thighs. And then turn your palms up. So now the backs of your hands rest on your thighs and your palms are facing up. And notice the sensation on your palms now. So, ways in Ayurveda that we are taught to nourish our skin include spending time in nature, spending time in the sun, and in the wind. And Ayurveda loves high quality oils for our body, especially sesame oil in the winter or for skin that's dry, coconut oil in the summer or for skin that tends to be oily, and sunflower oil year round. So these are not creams or lotions, but high quality oils, which I don't know if this is still the case, but if you're in my generation, you were very scared of oil. Um, and in Sanskrit, the word for oil is sneha. And sneha is also the word for love in Sanskrit. So in Ayurveda, it is said that oil is to the body what love is to the soul. And there is a practice called abhyanga, which is a form of self massage. And there are a lot of videos online that take you through it. But I wanted to just offer a short experience of it now and what you're going to do. So self massage means you're using your own hands. You determine your touch. You use loving touch on yourself. And your hand is held kind of a little bit cupped like this. And then when you are on your joints, and we're just going to do one arm, and I'm going to come out around, but I'm going to just explain it here. When you massage your joints in abhyanga, you do a circle, and you do a circle in one direction, and then you do a circle you circle in the other direction. And when you massage the muscles and the bones, you do long strokes on them. So I'm just going to come around and we're going to just go through, pick one arm, take the other hand and cup it. You're just starting with the shoulder in one direction and in the other direction. And then your arm inside and outside. And then the elbow circle inside both directions and outside. And then the forearm similarly inside, outside. And then your wrist circling one direction inside, other direction, and the outside, top. And then for your hands, you're just gently squeezing, even between the fingers. And when you finish, just let your arm rest. And then notice the difference between the arm that you massaged and the arm that you didn't massage. So, this form of self massage, Abhyanga, it doesn't just help the skin and the touch, but it actually nourishes your entire body, your entire nervous system. So, we'll bring our awareness next to our eyes, and our eyes in Ayurveda are governed by the element of fire. And I would say that if I had like eye bags for everyone, I would do this instead because it's more cooling. But just to have this experience, because and some of you may be familiar with this, and it's called palming, where you take your hands and you rub them together till there's a little bit of heat. And that same kind of way that you cupped your hands, you do that now, and you close your eyes and you put them over your eyes. And then just if your eyes can be closed, really invite them to relax. You can leave them on as long as feels comfortable. Our eyes are very sensitive to stress, and when our eyes focus, they pull forwards in their sockets and they strain. And so when you soften your eyes, you're really relaxing them and allowing more fluids to come in and to bathe and replenish the eye tissue. And then, when you're ready, bring your hands down and then, without focusing, have your eyes just partially open. So you notice form, maybe you notice colors. And then, when you can open your eyes, gaze softly at the horizon. So you can gaze at, there's some beautiful native northern oats grass up here, or something that, so that again, you're not trying to focus, it's a very soft gaze. And so if you are on the computer or a lot, or you read a lot, one of the recommendations is to take time to change your gaze. Most of that is very focused. So you do that looking at a horizon, you take gazing breaks, you look softly without focusing, or you can have a plant near your computer or where you read, and every once in a while take a break and gaze at that plant. Also in Ayurveda, you can splash cool water on your eyes or use rose water, which is a type of water where that is not essential oil. It's not fragrance. It's more like what we sometimes call hydrosols. Other eye care practices include gazing at the moon, which is considered to be cooling, or resting with an eye pillow. And then next, bring your awareness to your tongue. So, your tongue and your sense of taste in Ayurveda is governed by the element water. So, notice how your tongue rests in your mouth. See if there's any tastes that you notice, something lingering from breakfast, the bitterness of coffee, the sweetness of cream. Notice the fluids in your mouth too. And these, along with your tongue, are necessary for your sense of taste. So in Ayurveda, scraping your tongue first thing in the morning with a stainless steel or a copper tongue scraper is one way to care for this sense organ. Another way that we care for our tongue and taste is by eating a variety of whole and seasonal foods. And usually the goal is to eat foods either within a meal or through a day that give us the experience of all six tastes, which are sweet, salty, sour, bitter, pungent, and astringent. And then, last but not least, bring your attention to your nose. So, our nose and our sense of smell is governed by the earth element. And if you can, feel your breath entering and exiting your nose. Notice the scents that are around you. What is it that you smell? We practice self care for our noses by taking in scents that make us feel good, like the scent of flowers or conifers if we walk through the forest. On a more subtle level, the practice of pranayama or yogic breathing is most of those practices are through the nose and are considered a self care practice in that way. And it's that path through the nostrils that allows the breath and the energy that travels on the breath, that in Ayurveda and yoga we call prana, to really move deeply into the lower lobes of the lungs, activate your body's natural relaxation response, like that belly breathing. And you can similarly, because I was saying Ayurveda loves oil, like literally for all, except, well, you would have oily taste, but for all of these, there are oil practices with them. You can similarly apply oil inside your nostrils. And again, this is like high quality sesame oil. There's a Nasaya oil that is specifically for this. And that can help with dry nostrils or with nostrils that often get clogged with sinus issues or colds. So, care of our senses can be many protective rituals practiced daily. I think one of the reasons we're finding being out in nature to be so beneficial from a modern science perspective is that it's probably one of the best ways to nourish and care for our senses. Our sense organs are meant for perception and enjoyment, and they are considered gifts of being human. They're not to be overused, underused, or misused, but correctly used, they offer us sources of pleasure and correct perception. Coming to our senses is about paying attention and taking care of these gifts that we have been given. And it is not selfish to take the time to enjoy ourselves in this way. It is to be more fully present, more fully embodied, so that we might do better our work in this world. So, in conclusion, my hope is that all of us here, everywhere, embodied beings of stardust, that we all truly, truly shine. Thank you.